Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Andrew Moran, Sarah Cowgill, Jeff Charles, and James Fight. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. From the nation's inception, Americans have proven themselves a fiercely independent lot. Just ask the British. From the Boston Tea Party to boozing it up during Prohibition, Americans have always risen to the challenge of circumventing laws they deem outrageous. The adage, where there's a will, there's a way, captures this finely honed Yankee spirit. So it really comes as no surprise that U.S. citizens are finding their way to the vaccination card underground, despite the leftist media narrative that it's a piece of cake to pick up a fake vax. A search by Liberty Nation found it's really not so easy. Perhaps the counterfeit business has gone clandestine due to a push by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies to frighten people. Jim, there are several problems here, and all of them involve freedom. What say you?
What say I? Well, you may have come to a biased person on that one. I came up in the woods of the rural South in a family that bootlegged during Prohibition. So,
oh, you're going to say that on national television? Okay.
Well, they're all
Pretty
dead.
sure
now,
my
so it doesn't
family
matter.
sold it.
This is definitely a freedom issue. It reminds me, this whole vaccine pass thing reminds me of the Soviet jokes, your papers, comrade. What's not funny is that we're getting to that point. I don't know. Maybe I missed the boat on getting a fake vaccine card. They sure don't seem to be easy to find, but it looks like they'd be pretty easy to make.
Well, that's the problem. You brought up an interesting point, Andrew. I've noticed that. Well, if you look at anything that's government issued, they've got holograms. They've got all manner of stuff. But now they've issued millions upon millions of these vaccine cards. They're just like 3x5 cards. I was going to get mine out and show you guys. It just looks like a regular 3x5.
Yeah, perhaps it's a conspiratorial side of me, but I think that they're going to use this as an excuse to just adopt a full digital system to make it easier to track you. Up here in the province of Quebec, they adopted a digital system for the QR code. You just scan your phone and they'll determine if you've been vaccinated or not. They have similar programs. I think it's in Saskatchewan right now going on. So, this is the start of this whole digital system. It's something out of Beijing. It's terrifying. And then, of course, there was a case recently up here. A couple of Americans tried to come in Toronto with fake vaccination documents, and the authorities immediately spotted it, and they were fined $16,000. So hey, it shows that at least Canada is it's a place where people are willing to counterfeit government documents to come visit us up here.
Let me ask you: were they coming from America?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Up here, yeah, they require your vaccination papers.
All right, Sarah, papers, please.
American ingenuity. I think that we will get to a point where there will be some sort of scanning of a barcode or this or that and the other thing. But really, were they going to make a stand in line to get into a restaurant, make a stand in line to get cross the border into Texas or California or wherever we're going? I mean, I don't know how it's kind of an unwieldy process, I think.
Well, I mean, Jeff, why not? They make us stand in line to board an aircraft. I don't think they care how long we stand in line.
Well, yeah, I mean, the last thing they care about is, the American people. So they don't care about our level of comfort or our convenience. But I'm going to continue in the same vein. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat too. I think that the reason that they're pushing this narrative that these things are so easy to fake is because when they do enact these local mandates, and it still doesn't work, it still doesn't stop the spread of COVID-19, they're going to say, oh, it's because all these people were lying the whole time and they were using fake vaccination papers. That's my tinfoil hat theory. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
But then what do? Follow on from that. Then they put us all in Andrew's computer, like you were saying, Andrew?
I think that could very easily be used as an excuse to get our information in a computer. I mean, if China's doing it to us, why can't our government?
Well, it's interesting because when I wrote this story, there NPR, New York Times, there were loads and loads of stories. Go on Etsy, go on Amazon. You can easily get the only thing I saw were vaccine card holders.
No,
Yeah, I would say that these
know,
people, these entrepreneurs who are coming up with these things. I think they're quite heroic. It's like the James family, the bootleggers back in the 1920s. They were doing a good public service by selling hooch, and now these days, they're fighting against the government by offering these papers. All you need is a James Cagney or a Humphrey Bogart to run these things, and you're back in business.
well, like any good internet scammer, they're going to have to move sites. They can't just stay up. So they're going to go up and down and up and down and up and down so that there's no trail to follow. I mean, if there will be a digital trail, but on the other hand of it, it's going to be unwieldy. It's going to be all over the place. And nobody in their right mind is going to stay on Etsy if New York Times has said, hey, you can get one on Etsy. They're going to bop off. They're going to go somewhere else and reappear.
Well, I think it's also worth noting that these vaccine mandates are not popular. Like even a majority of Democrats don't want these mandates. They think that taking the vax should be a matter of personal choice. So I'm wondering how far they're even going to get with this. I'm not sure that the nation is quite ready for this yet because the majority of Americans don't want these mandates to happen in the first place.
But I've seen different surveys suggesting the opposite. I've seen surveys where it shows that a majority of Americans want either a vaccine passport or a vaccine mandate. And I know up here, all these businesses in Toronto, they're demanding that the government impose some sort of vaccine passport because they know that they personally can't of all the chaos that would ensue. But I've seen opposite data, Jeff.
Yeah, the most recent that I saw was from a couple of weeks ago. It was a Harvard-Harris poll. And it found that about 61% of Democrats didn't want this to happen. And I think 80% of Republicans. And in overall, the majority believe that taking the vax should be a matter of personal choice. So it might just depend on what study you're looking at. But as far as I know, the most recent one that I've seen suggests differently.
Yeah, I saw the last 3 ones. One was today, and it showed that 81% of Americans supported vaccine passports.
Well, it's changing every day. I mean, Jim, I just want to know if we have to show a vax card at the airport, why not an ID card at the voting booth? Just saying.
Good question.
See, that's a racist question.
Jeff, have I just
Honestly,
insulted
most people support voter ID. The Democrats lost that argument a long time ago, which if you notice, when they're talking about these voting laws and how this is Jim Crow 2.0, they're mentioning voter ID, but they're really just trying to focus on the overall narrative of the law. They're not pushing the voter ID as hard as they used to because they know that people don't believe that anymore.
Not a winning story anymore.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a winning argument. They lost it. Over 70% of Black people think that voter ID should be required. So they didn't do a very good job. So that's why when they talk about these voting laws disproportionately affecting the Black community, you notice how they never go into detail. They never give data. They never actually explain their point. They just say Jim Crow 2.0 and expect people to believe it.
But
that's
on the
not
subject,
gonna work either.
On the subject of media narrative, the latest one is that they're trying to portray this story as pro-vaccination versus anti-vaccination. They're trying to say that the people who oppose vaccination, they're the ones who are against the vaccine passports, and they're the ones who are the deplorables in society. But two things can be true at the same time. You can be pro-vaccination, but you can also be anti-movement licenses, because that's what these are. These are movement licenses. You have to get a license just to go to places, grocery store, gyms, restaurants, whatever the case. So, I've been vaccinated, and I'm against vaccine passports.
All right. Well, we love our hard-fought freedom and at Liberty Nation, and we know our viewers do as well. Hope this has been an enlightening discussion for you. Thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, or on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. Thanks for tuning in. And remember to surf on over to libertynation.com. Sign up for our member zone, just $29.99 for the year. Special thanks to our fantastic editor and post coordinator, Frank Diorio, our executive producer, Sarah Calgill. I'm Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a production of libertynation.com, conservative news where truth matters.